Have you ever wondered whose struggle is behind the devices you use every day? The man who was given up for adoption shortly after birth. Dropped out of college. Pushed out of the company he helped build. And told in one of the most painful moments of his life that his vision was no longer wanted. He faced public failure, personal rejection, and a life-threatening illness. Yet he returned, rebuilt what had been lost, and helped change the way the world communicates, creates, and experiences technology. Every setback became part of a revolution. This is the story of Steve Jobs. A story of passion, failure, and revolution. Stephen Paul Jobs was born on February 24, 1955, in San Francisco. Shortly after birth, he was adopted by Paul and Clara Jobs, who raised him in a modest middle-class home in California. From an early age, Steve showed a fascination with machines, electronics, and the hidden systems inside everyday objects. His adoptive father, Paul, was a machinist and mechanic who worked carefully with his hands. In the family garage, he taught Steve how to take machines apart, understand how they worked, and rebuild them properly. Steve learned a powerful lesson, that even the parts people could not see deserved to be made with care. That early belief would later influence the way he approached products, design, and the future of innovation. In 1972, Steve enrolled at Reed College in Oregon. But after only 6 months, he officially dropped out. The tuition was consuming much of his parents' savings, while many of the required courses held little meaning for him. Yet Steve did not immediately leave the campus. For roughly another year and a half, he continued attending selected classes, slept on friends' floors, returned soft drink bottles for money, and followed only the subjects that genuinely interested him. One of those subjects was calligraphy. At the time, it had no obvious practical purpose. But years later, its lessons in typography, spacing, and visual beauty helped shape the Macintosh computer. A decision that once appeared impractical became part of a technological revolution. In 1976, Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and Ronald Wayne formed Apple Computer. Jobs was only 21 years old. To help finance their early work, Jobs sold his Volkswagen van, while Wozniak sold his programmable calculator. Their first product, the Apple I, was essentially a fully assembled circuit board designed for computer hobbyists. But the Apple II went much further. It offered color graphics, a practical case, and a design that made personal computing more approachable for ordinary consumers. What began as a small partnership soon helped launch the personal computer revolution. Apple grew at extraordinary speed. In December 1980, the company went public, creating immense wealth for many of its early employees, and making Steve Jobs a multimillionaire at the age of 25. But rapid success brought growing pressure. Steve was brilliant, demanding, persuasive, and often difficult to work with. After the Macintosh launched in 1984, disappointing early sales deepened tensions inside the company. Jobs and Apple's chief executive, John Sculley, disagreed over strategy, leadership, and the future of the business. The conflict was no longer only about products. It had become a struggle over who would control the company. In 1985, Apple's board supported John Sculley. Steve Jobs was removed from his leadership responsibilities and left without meaningful control over the company he had helped create. Later that year, he resigned from Apple. This was more than a professional defeat. Apple had defined much of his adult life, and losing his role there was a direct blow to his identity. Years later, during his Stanford commencement address, Jobs described the experience as devastating. But he also said that being successful had been replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again. The failure that seemed to destroy his career gave him the freedom to begin again. After leaving Apple, Steve founded a new computer company called NeXT. Its computers were expensive and never became mainstream consumer products, but their software and engineering would later become extremely important. In 1986, Jobs also acquired the computer graphics division of Lucasfilm. The company was later named Pixar. Pixar initially struggled as a hardware business, but Jobs continued financing it while its creative team developed computer animation. In 1995, Pixar released Toy Story, the first feature-length film created entirely with computer-generated animation. During these years, Steve learned that revolutionary ideas do not always succeed immediately. They often require patience, talented people, and the willingness to continue when the results are uncertain. By the middle of the 1990s, Apple was struggling. In late 1996, the company announced that it would acquire NeXT, bringing Steve Jobs back to Apple. In 1997, he became interim chief executive. His return marked the beginning of one of the greatest corporate comebacks in modern business history. The colorful iMac arrived in 1998 and challenged the idea that computers had to look dull and complicated. In 2001, the iPod helped transform digital music. Then, in January 2007, Jobs stepped onto a stage and introduced a device that combined a mobile phone, a music player, and an internet communicator. It was the iPhone, and it changed the direction of the mobile industry. In 2010, Apple introduced the iPad, helping bring tablet computers into mainstream daily life. Under Steve's leadership, technology was no longer presented only as a collection of technical specifications. Products were designed as complete experiences connecting hardware, software, and human behavior. But behind this extraordinary period of innovation, Steve was facing a serious personal battle. In 2003, he was diagnosed with a rare pancreatic neuroendocrine tumor. He underwent treatment and continued working, although his health became increasingly fragile over the following years. Even as his physical strength declined, his attention remained fixed on the products and ideas he hoped would outlive him. In August 2011, as his health declined, Steve Jobs resigned as Apple's chief executive. On October 5, 2011, he died at the age of 56. His life was filled with contradictions. He could be inspiring and extremely demanding, visionary and difficult, celebrated and deeply criticized. But his story carries a powerful lesson. Failure does not always mean that the journey is over. Sometimes it removes the path we expected and forces us to discover the path we were meant to build. Jobs believed that people should have the courage to follow their hearts and intuition, even when the destination was uncertain. His influence continues through the products, design principles, creative industries, and technological expectations he helped shape. But the questions he asked about technology, creativity, and human potential remain. Stay hungry, stay foolish.
It was their farewell message as they signed off. Stay hungry, stay foolish. And I have always wished that for myself. And now, as you graduate to begin anew, I wish that for you. Stay hungry, stay foolish. Thank you all very much.